Oh, and I want to turn this off. 1 second. Thank you very much for telling me that. How's that? Give me a one if you could hear me now. If not, then I'll change my settings. Let me just make sure my audio is good. Echoing. It was echoing, I think, because. Oh, all right. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Rats to the Moon is here. That's one of the other things that I'm going to address and do. Something that I haven't done is I don't remember what show it was when it occurred, but I think it was probably one of my earliest shows that I divvied out wrenches. Now, I've never taken the time to give any instructions on, what I want when people are um, moderators, mods, and thus far, everything that you all have done has been fine for me. So, one, obviously, if you have a wrench and you don't want a wrench any longer, and by the way, some people have reached out to me and just indicated for various reasons that the relationship wouldn't be able to exist the way it is, and I understand. I respect that. So you can reach out to me. My email is backthemadness@gmail.com, and we can have a discussion. But as it stands right now, I don't have very many rules, and I'll develop them as I need to. I've yet to have anybody on the show myself. I know that occasionally there are people who want to do harm by a show, and so they'll do various things. So I guess I have to figure out a way to make sure that I don't have that happen to me. So I guess I'll just have them reach down and tickle themselves or something that I can have them do on the screen if I don't know them. So as I was saying, I don't, other than having the reins, given to me, so to speak. Good morning, Huntington Township. Good to see you. Um, I don't know if the time slot is going to stay the same. I think it probably will. It seems to work for me previously. I don't really see any reason to change anything. Um, but I'm going to tell you one thing that me going to the place where I go and where the VA is, which is in Greenville, North Carolina, is also the same place where I go and donate plasma. And I typically, as I think I've indicated to you guys, that's how I was able to see the fire that, I didn't see the fire, but I saw the crews kind of cleaning up in the aftermath of it all. And then I was interviewed. So if you haven't checked out that video, please go ahead and check it out. But I discovered that on Tuesdays, that Jersey Mike's has double points. Now, I'm trying to lose a little weight to get back in shape. I'm now playing golf. We just got a membership. And my lovely wife now has got me one of those carts that you put or those things that has wheels and you put your bag on, so I can walk the course for free. And basically I can do as many holes as I want to. So, and all under the guise of getting good enough to beat my dad. My dad's probably been playing a little bit longer than I have, and a little bit older than me, obviously. But he has a pretty nice golfing game, for old Reverend. So I want to just, and we're going to be going on a trip together sometime in the latter part of the year, and I'm sure we're going to play golf. So I want to be able to beat him. So back in the day, my father used to cut hair. He still cuts hair. So but he would have his friends over. Now, so backing up just a little bit, um, my mother and father divorced when I was very young. Like I think I was 4, my sister was 3. So we've been under those situations for a very long time. But I lived with my father for a period of time. Myself, my sister, and I lived with my father as well. My mother went into the Navy, had some training, those kind of things. So there's just different times where I lived with my mom or with my dad. But I went to, it was either the YMCA, I'm pretty sure it was called the Wilson's Boys Club in Indiana, where I was born. And I learned how to play chess. And I always remember, because my father, he would cut somebody's hair and then he would play chess with them, with the person whose hair he cut. And they would sit down, and it just always seemed so fascinating. They talk and they laugh. And I thought it'd be kind of a cool thing for me to do. And so I always thought in my mind I was gonna get good enough to play my father and beat him in chess. Now, I I don't know if I'm particularly competitive. I think my nature is kind of competitive, and I don't hear my wife in the background laughing, but she'll tell you that we are very competitive, but and I think I am on some level. So, I don't know where this desire to beat my dad kind of happened, but it's just one of those things that you just kind of do. So, anyway, chess. That was chess. So I learned chess, and then now I started playing golf, and I think he's better than me, and so I wanna beat him. You guys can respect that, right? Alright, so, yeah, a number of things, exciting things. I think it'll be fine, and I think a couple of maybe a week ago, we kinda said that we were going to set up a way for you all to ask, like, the type of questions and subjects that you would want for me to cover. I mean, I have a varied interest as it is. I live in North Carolina. It's motivation. Yes, it is motivation for sure. Um, oh, and I remember I can bring these up, so I will figure out, and that's another thing. So first of all, let me step back a little bit. And I know there's been a lot of things that have been going on in the community as a whole, not just with my previous co-host, and obviously in my mind, um, he, that is Todd, generally specific, is always welcome for to come back and do whatever he wants to do on this show and any other show that I'm a part of, because the impetus for it all kind of started with our conversation. And I think on so many levels, like it was when I became a director. I was a trainer first, and I became a director. I learned so much about how I interact with people and how I manage and those kind of things. And even though I don't work for that company anymore, the next step that I took doing this show, for example, building the business that I have with eBay and my wife, and all of those things are just things that you move on with. So I am always going to support the fact that our community, with the riffs and the tiffs and all those kind of things that they have, has the potential and needs to be able to build within itself. So um, taking the time to do that, I think, is warranted. And I know that he already had a lot on his plate, and he intimated very within the last couple of weeks, that he wanted me to be able to take this space and do something with it as I wished. And so I'm going to do my best to do that. And you guys can watch me grow. My channel, on as many levels as it is growing on the backside, and part of that is because of the support that you always have given me. So I appreciate that. We are now. So I have the screen. I don't know if I can make it bigger. I think I can. Let's see if we do that. Yeah. So we're at 387 subscribers and 135 videos. I've been putting out a lot of shorts of late, and I have the podcast, which I'm beginning to work on. So to remind you all of where the podcast was and what it's about, and I don't know if this is a YouTube thing or if it is a, how do I explain it? I'm just going to say that apparently the subject matter could offend some people, and I totally understand how that is. But obviously, for educational purposes and for information purposes, I don't have a problem with it. And if anybody does have a problem, be forewarned. I'll leave a warning that the subject matter for my podcast on the lowest level is the last lynching in each state. It started with Utah and in Indiana. I lived in Utah for 30 years. I was born in Indiana. There were there were lynchings that occurred. The last they each had multiple lynchings, but there was a last lynching. And what I've found, and specifically within North Carolina, is that there are a number of different ways that lynchings were recorded. Um, and so there is some discrepancies within each state or a state or multiple states that sometimes it's not very clear when a lynching occurred or if a lynching occurred. And that includes the methodology of how it occurred. So you can imagine, in fact, Liza and I watched a show. It was called Blood Done Signed My Name, and it's about an incident that occurred in North Carolina. I think it was Wilson, North Carolina. Maybe it wasn't Wilson. I'm not sure, but I'm still kind of studying up on it. But this individual had an interaction with two ladies, and then somehow the husband of a white lady perceived his interaction with these two people to be at his wife, directed at his wife, and they ended up shooting him and beating him. I think that it was the bullets that killed him. Now, arguably, because it was a murder without due justice or due diligence, is that what you call it? Just cause. You know, he didn't have a trial, so you know they tried to enact um, law, make things right, and they murdered the person. So some people will say that it's not a lynching. So I think the way I'm going to treat North Carolina is a little bit differently than I have with all the other ones. So I'm just kind of letting you guys know how it's going to go. So there might be actually three different stories that are going to be in my next podcast that's dealing with North Carolina, because there are three distinct instances that were recorded one way or the other. So Rosewood, Florida, interesting story. Thank you. So let me put that one up. And Huntington is saying that the shorts are not showing up in your feed. I'll check them out to be sure I'm not missing them. Thank you. And that is another thing. So there's two levels. Let me make it so that I'm back to how I had it before. I think, yeah, there we go. Production. I'm learning a little production. Sound is in and out. Why is that? Let's see. It might be because of maybe the connection. So sorry. So I will take the time after this to kind of analyze the production of it all and see what I'm missing or what I need to change. So um, thank you. That is noted. So Rat say sound is in and out. I'll try to make it so that you guys can hear. I know up in the studio, so I think I've explained this before. So my background that you have is my studio, which is upstairs. And I have a slightly different setup, but the computer that I use is a laptop and it's not as strong as this one right here. But I think that the audio setup is a little bit better. So I'm going to go through the motions of kind of making sure which way I want to do it. Because I would, you know, it sucks when things are in and out. So yeah. But Mariana, Florida, where I'm apparently had another incident similar to what you were saying in North Carolina. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, really, what I was saying, the point of what I was saying is that although I think I probably thought in my mind that all states had a lynching, I don't think it turns out to be that way. And let me see if I can kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm kind of starting some of my research. There's a number of different sites, but this happens to be one of them, or maybe it's not that one. Let me double check. Let me do it like this. So this one right here, and this guy Monroe was around the same time. I mean, he did some sociological work, and specifically in lynching. Ida B. Wells is another person who had a website that, or not a website. I'm sorry, not definitely not a website, but recorded lynchings. And this one, what I think is really cool is the map. So if we go to the map, let's see if I can get to the map. Uh, choose a map. So, like for example, oh, okay, thanks, Rat. So Rat said she reloaded the play, and I'm gonna put what you just wrote before. All right, so if you guys can see that, and let me make it bigger. This indicates how you want to look at the map. And it says, despite the extreme pressure to change my policy with reference to what shall be included under lynchings, I continue to exclude from the record victims of riots and strikes, whether North or South, because Monroe didn't want to be put in the same category of people who recorded lynchings that were from the South because people perceive them to be, I'm sorry, from the North, perceive them to be biased as to what kind of murder would be in the category of lynching. So I think he created a very strict, um, what do you call it, criteria for lynching. And then there were other people who said, let's include all of these other things. And so they kind of had a different set of criteria. So I think I'm going to err on the side of on Monroe, but I'm going to go through this website the way they have it laid out, and I would encourage you actually to check out this website. It's called plaintalkhistory.com, and if you go there, it has a really interactive map, which I'm going to kind of click and show you. So I'll click on that, and it's loading now, and it has a timeline for which you can set where you're looking at. I don't know if you can tell. Oh, you might not be able to see that because I have. Let me take that off. So the timeline can be shifted. And if you zoom in, obviously, when you zoom in, you can see where where the lynchings occurred and the state that they did. So as you go past, like say 1964, so 1964, it looks like there's a couple in Alabama, like the deep South, Mississippi, and then of course you have a vast majority through these areas. But the point that I wanted to make on this is that each one of these represents a lynching, and they weren't always. You can see a color code as it appears by what they were. So this kind of orange color is black. Then they have Italian in blue, Native American is pink, Latin X is like a orange, and then they have a lime green, which is other, and then Chinese. Chinese had their period of time where they were lynched as well. So I'm in North Carolina. I'm going to put it over into North Carolina. If I can get it over there. Let's see. Take it back out. And you can see there is a number of ones. And I believe that the last one that is on record here is in 1941, which I think would have been here. Is it not liking? No, I thought it was in Wilson. Maybe it was. Oh, yeah, Melker. So actually, this is one of those instances where you can find record of another and you don't find it in some other. So I'm going to justify the discrepancies with multiple sites and records. And then when it comes down to it, I will try to tell the story of the ones that are relevant. And if it happens to be something like Liza and I watched the movie, I think I was about to tell this story. And I knew, well, neither one of us had seen or heard about this story in its entirety, but there was an instance that happened. I think the way that she described it was that she was still waiting uh, for the person to be murdered a certain way. It happens to be with a rope and by hanging. I'm tiptoeing around some of the verbiage just because I'm not always clear as to whether or not, YouTube is opposed to me saying those things. But again, it's for educational purposes. And as long as you guys know upfront what the subject matter is, I think it should be okay. But some of you all have specifically indicated, I've been hearing that people appreciate the story and my treatment. And mind you, this was like almost 4 years ago um, that I actually put any of the recordings, that I actually recorded it. Um, so I've gone through a number of different learning processes and those kind of things. So maybe I can create a better experience for you as it is on tape. How I record them. So I'm kind of excited about it. It's kind of cool to revisit it on the level that I have. When I started, it was interesting, and it's still interesting to me. In fact, every time I go traveling anywhere through North Carolina, you see these little cubby holes of, they have cemeteries everywhere on just a random piece of land. You'll just see a little space cut out, and apparently the laws are such that sometimes you have to build around it. There's a mall where there's an actual cemetery plot inside of the mall, or at least on the ground. So those things are interesting. And now that I'm going to put this down as a note, the Mariana, Florida. Let's see if we can even find that on the map. So where is Mariana, kind of? Let's see. I can look it up over here. Mariana, Florida. Florida. Claude Neal, 23-year-old African American farmhand who was arrested in Jackson County, Florida on October 19th, 1934 for allegedly raping and killing Lola Kennedy, a 19-year-old white woman missing since the preceding night. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can find. And that's another thing is I don't know if right next to Alabama and Georgia. Okay. So we're talking like somewhere up here then. Alabama and Georgia. So it's like somewhere over here, maybe. Let's see if this is Jackson. Maybe it's one of those. That's Silos. Claudia. Look at Rats to the Moon. Got us right there. Good job. All right. The only county to touch both it is Jackson. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it touches Alabama, Alabama and Georgia. Okay, that makes sense. What about Holmes? Oh no, Holmes only gets Alabama. I see. What's up, Holmes? All right. Well, and then so I mean, I haven't even decided. Yeah, cemeteries are cool. I used to go. There was a few places in in Utah that you could go, and you see some really cool history. And Utah is a very um, genealogical genealogy driven state because of the LDS church. Um, but you can see some really cool tombstones, names. In fact, I think there was a time where I was writing a story. I can't talk to you right now, Uncle. Sorry about that. But yeah, and I was looking for interesting names, and I went through a cemetery to try to do it. So yeah, so that's where we are. Um, Utah would be fun. Yeah, and that's the thing is, well, there's an interesting thing, and I don't know if you all know anything about the LDS church. Like I said, I lived in Utah for 30 years, but um, if it's a first of all at a temple or the community temple that you go to, you won't see crosses in the cemetery. You won't see crosses if they're LDS. So I didn't know that for the longest time. It's like, oh yeah, you never see crosses. It's interesting, right? But yeah, I do like cemeteries, and there's a lot of like, okay, so driving from the town that I live in to the next closest town. How do I turn this on? Oh, it's because see, normally I wouldn't even have to worry about that because I always have this on. If you guys can see that, this is my headset. I used to ride the train to work. It took in Utah. It was called the Front Runner. So you have the regular train system called tracks, and then you have what's called the Front Runner, which goes basically along the valley from all the way from Brigham. I think it goes down to does it go to Brigham? Maybe Ogden is the last one, but all the way down to that down south, further past Provo. Um, but occasionally I would leave my so I would wear these, what do they call them? They earbuds. They were earbuds, and they had a microphone here, and I liked them. The sound was cool, and I could talk to them and all that stuff. But they weren't attached to my head or my neck, and so sometimes I would leave my phone, and I didn't, or and my headset would come out, and I was not hearing the warning, headset disconnected. So I had to find a way to have one that was actually around my neck, and then I could put it in my ear. And so that kind of same thing with my with my wallet. I have a chain because I was notorious for losing my damn wallet. So I've been wearing my wallet attached to my belt loop for the very longest time. That's interesting. Hunting to be said this. All right. Yes, that is that is correct. So rats correctly, they do genealogy work where they are doing work for basically to, saving souls. And it's funny because I used to do stand-up comedy, and there is a comedian. I totally forget his I, I'm not really outing him out or anything. In fact, I'm pretty sure he still does comedy. His name, I'm pretty sure, is Levi Rounds. But Levi did a joke where he was talking about the person who had to do genealogy work in the temple for Hitler. That guy with the H, yeah. So uh, he he went through the whole process of making, it was, to me it was funny the way he went about the person having to figure out, do they just want to put their toe in it, or did they have to do the whole thing. And obviously it's a very secretive ceremony that they do, and not many people know about it. I don't even know about it. I lived there for 30 years. Although I went through the discussions um, some time ago, and I never converted. But anyway, so that was that. Well, thank you guys. Let's see. I didn't do this. Let me put it over here. I know I didn't check this. So on my side, I need to give me 1 second. Sorry. I'm just going, and I gotta put that on, and I'm gonna put my own like in there. And I'm just gonna recognize that I might have 90 different shows, and there be only 4 or 5 people that watch. I'll keep doing it. I'll keep bringing, things that you guys want me to talk about, or things that I'd like to ask questions of you. Um, I will consider Rats to the Moon's suggestion for that particular incident in Florida. It's on my mind now. I was gonna do a note for myself, memo to self, to do the Mariana, Florida one. I can imagine being. I mean, that's deep south now. So I'm interested to figure out whether or not, for some reason, I feel like that things weren't quite as bad in Florida as they were in other states. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, it is still the deep south, right? But I feel like more like Mississippi and Alabama and those kind of things. Even my one of my uncles lives in Alabama. He's lived there for many years, and he's kind of talked about how things are, how things were. And interestingly enough, that my uncle, my mother's closest brother, I asked him before. I'm like, in Indiana. Let me make sure that you guys can see what it is that I'm doing. Okay, Louisiana. Okay. So in Indiana, I was like, because my so if one of my podcast episodes, I can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was "Thank You for Your Service." The one I talk about my grandmother and how she was fearful when I was passing a police officer. I'm pretty sure it was a Utah highway patrol. And if you guys, you may or may not know, but the triple HI space HIJ, that letter, I don't even know if I can say that. I'm going to talk about that in just a second because it bothers me on so many levels, but I'm just going to deal with it. But very prevalent in Indianapolis, and I think I'm going to err on the side of, first of all, I'm going to treat the subject with respect, professionalism, and thoroughness, and I think that should be okay. And it can be perceived as educational journalism on some level. If there's anything that we need to, investigate, so be it. But I, I think it's more difficult to tiptoe around things just because of the subject matter. And if you have a problem with it, then you can just deal with it. And if I get a strike or something like that, then I will deal with that on the level that I need to. Right now, my channel is not monetized. Um, that's a little ways away, but I just have to know what the community guidelines and those kind of things are so that I can address it when I get to that point. So, and if I didn't mention to you before, I do have an appointment at noon. So at the longest, we will be, uh, well, I'm sorry, it's at 1 o'clock, but I will be done with this at not later than noon. So we've been 32 minutes in. So let's see. Okay, Luker, hit the like. Let's see, Lurker. Let's see. The Panhandle is considered the Deep South. Okay, the southern part of the state is considered the New North. Interesting. So when we say the Panhandle, I just want to make sure I've heard these terms before, but I'm not really from there, and I do travel there to see my wife's brothers or my brother-in-law. But is the northern west side, this little portion right here, is that what's considered the Panhandle? I guess I'm asking that question to Rats because she seems to know the area. So she said, let me put up what she wrote. The Panhandle is considered the Deep South. Is the entire northern portion. Okay. So the entire northern portion right here. Okay, got you. But then you have these bordering. Now I've always perceived like Atlanta, Alabama, Mississippi, I guess Louisiana too. Dallas on some level too, because like Juneteenth, we're coming up on Juneteenth, which is another fascinating story. Those people weren't even aware that they were free after a certain period of time, right? So we are under Alabama is deep south. Oh, I see. Got you. Understood. So somebody said, "Okay, lurker, hit the like." Oh, me on the show, who didn't even hit the like until just now. Right. So yes, for sure. If you're, it says there's three watching, so it's just us holding down the fort. Anyway, well, all right. So and to be honest and to be fair, I don't really feel like um, I really don't feel like. Well, I mean, babbling on some level is just what you come up with stuff, and then you guys kind of lead the reins too as well. Let me know what it is. But so Huntington Township Watch said, where was the northernmost area where these awful things took place? Okay, let's see on the map. So are you asking where is the northernmost place where lynching occurred? And I believe actually also, let's see. Um, I guess if we'll go here. There's New York. There's a dot in New York. I don't see any in any of these right here, right? Main area. As you go along, let's see. So I only see a dot in New York. Where'd it go? Let's see what time frame it was. Robert Lewis, also recorded as Robert Jackson Lewis. Um, I thought it gave me the date. I think that's one oh, Lynch in early June 1892. All right, now let's look along the north a little bit more. Detroit, Michigan. There's one there. That's I don't know if that's more north or further north. Mm. Black male. Frederick Warner, Sheboygan County. Oh, Sheboygan County, not Colorado. I was like, is that Colorado? That's definitely not Colorado. Okay, so 1883. Huh. So I think it's interesting. I was looking to see in Alaska if there was one, and I don't know if there ever was one in Alaska, but who knows? That's pretty wild, wild westish. There's Anchorage. So yeah, all over the place. Also, movie by the same name. Where was it? So sad though. All right, Rosewood, Florida. Put me back on the screen a little bit. So let's see. All right, so I'm here. So you guys know I'm still here. I don't know if that answered your question, Huntington, but it's certainly worth looking into. Like, what was the northernmost? Like, I know that in California, I believe, and don't quote me on this, I believe that the last one that occurred was a Caucasian person. And in my last episode of my podcast, I say that I was going to do that one next because people always say it's not always black people, and it's true. There's obviously record, and it was used as a law tool, a tool of law. You round up the posse, you do it because they broke a law. Wasn't always racially motivated. So, but I'm going to be delving deeper. By the time I get to so as what I the point that I was trying to make on some level is that I believe that there is not every state is represented, but I can't confirm that. Um, I don't know if every state is represented in this map or on the subject matter, but I can certainly find out. But by the time that I get to, I mean, right now I'm only two in, working on my third. Um, I might find differently. Sometimes certain events in history are difficult to hear. Correct. All of them. Yeah, for sure. What else did I want to tell you guys? I talked about the podcast, where I'm going with it. Um, oh, so I have submissions. And when I say submissions, I modeled this after who I believe is, if I'm ever going to have a channel that deals with body worn camera footage, which is an interest of mine in North Carolina, um, then I like the treatment that Lackluster does, and he has a very good kind of cool way of asking people to submit things. And I have a submission form for videos that you own, but that you're going to allow me to use. Then I'm going to have it. I have that form where you can do it. You can obviously email me with any stories that you think I can use. Obviously I would love to do things that you guys are interested in as well, that I have some interest in equally. So that too. Email. And then I think that what I'm going to do, as far as this particular subject matter, the Freedom Speaks podcast matter, is I don't think I need to separate it. Mm, I don't know. I don't know what's the best way to do it. But you will notice that I also have reactions. Let me go back to my channel because I kind of wanted people, I wanted to kind of be able to focus on different things. And I don't know if I did it the right way. And if you guys know a better way, then let me know. But I think I put it as reactions or something like that. Let's see. Let's look at this one. I feel um oh, hashtag FAQ reactions. So if I'm reacting to something and you comment on it, which I do have some reaction videos, like this one is one of them. Um, and I'm about to come up with another one. So I've been accumulating things that kind of catch my attention, witty statements, ignorance, just different things that just kind of get my attention. And I kind of want to have a surface level reaction, or at least have you all share it with me at the same time. And I probably have looked at it obviously one time, but without any ponderings or anything like that. I put them off to the side. I put them in my own little playlist. So, and I just accumulate them over time. So, yeah, Lackluster. I really just dig the way that and what they have done with their app. Although, although I think there's use. I think there's a use for it for sure. And I think that they will probably refine it and get it to work the way they will need it, and it will be a valuable tool. I just don't know if it's quite there yet, and that's just my surface thought. But I think that they are definitely working on it, um, and it'll be something that people will use. So, and man, they've been working as journalists and in their own fields doing their videos for a long time. And he has a million. Long Island audits has however many he has, which I can tell you. Let me see. Let me duplicate that. Let's just say a lot. He has a lot. Long Island audits. Let's see where he's at right now. 744,000 subscribers, so almost a million. And then Blackluster is over a million because I remember him having his kind of celebration. Lackluster 1.21 million. So yeah. And I don't want to say attorneyshield.com. So they're not a sponsor of mine, but I support what they do because some people will have their riffs with one or the other. I don't think I've ever heard anybody have a problem with Lackluster, but maybe Long Island. But I support them just like I support some of the other people that are out there. Um, but if I was going to model some of the things that I've seen, Lackluster, I mean, just down from the thumbnails to his knowledge of how he approaches the videos. And another person is not audit them. It's audit the auditors I like, but and I'm one of those people that like law things for sure. But it's not audit the it is it's not audit them. Mm. Next time I come across it. That one I particularly like as well. So, yeah. Craig, yes, you answered my question. Thank you. All right. Let me see if I missed anything. And there's so much for me to miss because the two people who are supporting. Um, Rats obviously has a wrench. If Huntington, you would like a wrench as well, I can give you one. You're mostly always in my show as well. Dove is here sometimes if I let her know too. I think she has a wrench. I have to check out who has wrenches and who doesn't. Um, like I said, the way that you all have conducted yourself in my chats, mostly supporting me, has been wonderful, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to share. I'll likely have I'll likely have yeah, I think she would be good. I'll just No, that's okay. Don't need a wrench. Okay, sweet. So, all right. I'll probably have a more strict subject next week. So we'll meet here next week, same time. I don't know if I'll move it to 9 o'clock, but I think 10 o'clock. You guys can kind of give me an idea if 9 or 10 is better. Um, Subject matter, if you like, let me know. I'm gonna put a community. I'll put a community post up there so that you guys can. All right, no problem. I totally understand. Um, I'll put a community post so you can do that. You can I can try to make it clear so that if you want to submit a video, you can. You can email me. Any comment, obviously you can let me know. That'll give me some ideas, but I'll keep working on stuff. So yeah, thank you. I'll do it at my convenience. I think this time slot works really well. And if I kind of build on an hour, I think I think that's good. I'll just plan on building it. So we're 14 minutes away from 14 minutes away from being at an hour, and I think I'll just build on it so that I can get better and better. I'm definitely not one of those people that can. Well, I can if it's about work, and when I say work, I'm talking about listing and then putting it into the computer and taking pictures, all those things. I can certainly get 5 hours out of it. But I'm not a person that's going to have a 5 hour anything that has to do with YouTube right this minute. Now, if we have a panel or something, then it might go that long, but I just don't see it happening right now. And I can certainly work on that. Get my speaking chops up. Get those up. We can do it. That's why my editor is important. I would not have a channel if it were not for him. So tell me as you can. So I'm gonna put that up, Huntington. How did you discover? Like, you don't have to be so specific, but give me an idea of how you discovered your editor and like what they do for you. And I've watched, a couple of your videos, and I comment on them. And yes, you're right. They tell the story. Well done. And so, how did you discover it, and how did you go about doing that? Would have never thought what? Let's see. Did I miss something? Are you talking about the time, rats? Oh, HTW, about not being tech savvy. I didn't drink a drop of liquid, like coffee or anything, because I didn't want to have to step away and tinkle. And I've done fine. So. Oh, I see. Okay. So now, and I'm definitely not there. So the way that I started, so I used to use software called Olive. I think it was called Olive, and it was free. And I did a number of videos, and then I got to the point where editing was so bad because my computer was slow and it was just very choppy. And I never really got my chops with Olive editor anyway. Um, and then I discovered DaVinci Resolve. Again, not a sponsor or anything like that, but I use the tool to edit my videos. I I am so far away from what a really, really good editor is, and I know that there's certain things that I could do better, and I'm trying to incorporate those things. But the things that I do, the way that I do them, and as often as I do them, I try to do them consistently so that they get the same kind of feel and look. I mean, you'll see different nuances. Like I'll do different cuts because I just discovered something. But then somebody, like generally specific, Todd, he'll tell me, dude, it was kind of jumpy, and I'll leave it alone. But I just need to figure out how to smooth things out and those kind of things. But I mean, I'm working on it. But I've used Fiverr before, not a sponsor, but I use them and I think they're very affordable. What's the last thing I used Fiverr for? Oh, for my book. Let me pull up this image so you guys can see. I haven't done too much more. I mean, when I say I haven't done too much more, I'm just simply saying that I mean I've written a few paragraphs or maybe even a chapter, but it's not quite there yet. This you guys have seen before. Real Bullets, Toy Guns, Defying the Odds Against All Odds by Craig M. Woodall. That is me. I came up with the concept in my mind of I knew what my story was going to be, and I knew kind of what the concept was, and I described it to the person, and they refined it a couple of times. Some things were like off, and it just wasn't hitting very right. But the final product of what they came up with, or what we came up with, I think is what represents what it is that I want to do. I don't know how long it's going to be for me to write this book, but it is going to come out for sure. So, would you guys can tell me this and tell me if this would interest you at all. Would you like little snippets, just of, even if it's somebody else reading it, of the book, like kind of like a teaser, or would you just kind of like to see or hear it all at once? Ooh, two software programs for editing. I wonder why you would have two. Let's see. Yeah, your thumbnails are cool. Let me see. Let's put yours up. Let me make sure I have it. Mm, 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 mm. I just have to do. Wait, maybe I'm confused about something. Huntington. Okay, let's see. See, like the thing is that it's very clear as to what's going on with yours, especially this sign. Is that a sign that actually, oops, it's not happening. Is that a sign that actually happens? I mean, that exists? Or is that one that he created? TWP, is that the short for township? I never heard of that before. Anyway. All right, let's see. Where are we now? We have 7 more minutes. If you guys can hang out with me for 7 more minutes, then we'll reach an hour and then I will end the stream. I think we can do it. Okay, so Township, I certainly don't know. LOL. I'm buying the book. Oh, thank you. So, well, I don't even know. So, realistically, I'm trying to think of where I am with it. Let me take this off. Um, I want to say I'm gonna put it up because I haven't. The last time I looked at it was about. Does it tell me when I edited it last? I last opened it on. Oh, so I last opened it. I last opened it on May 27th, and so it tells me I have 8,000 words, and that takes me all the way down to. Let's see. I'm gonna tell you what chapter I'm on now. Okay, let's see. Last page is. So I have a total of 34 pages, and I'm on 4 chapters. That's progress, right? Section R, range, township. Oh, I see. It's signs in our areas. He's also a photographer. Okay, got you. I'm buying the book, so well, thank you. Rats is cool. All of you guys, again, I'm very thankful for your support. Um, I just simply want to do right by you guys and by the subject matter that I take up, how I present it. I want to conduct anytime that I deal with government officials as I need to, that I do so respectfully. Um, you know, I'm a reflection of a lot of things, including where I come from, my mother, my father, my wife, my kids, those kind of things. So I want to do things in a way that that I can be proud of myself and that they can be proud of. So that's how I'll conduct myself. I changed my description of my channel, my about page, if you will, a little bit. I think it kind of summarizes what I really want to do. I respectfully exercise and publish my interaction with government officials, and I mean people in general. But that's where I am, and I call those reps. So when I'm out filming and I'm doing those things, it's a rep, and I keep those three letters in mind: respect and exercise whatever amendment that I'm exercising, right, whatever, and then I'm going to publish it in a way that does justice. I If you saw the interview that I did with WITN, um, I wasn't certain, obviously, that they had already done some B-roll footage, and then they were kind of wrapping up their interview, and I delayed what I was going to be doing. In fact, I thought about doing it going live with it, but I didn't because even though it happened like I was passing there around noon, and it's apparently they had the road closed since 5:30 that morning. But there should have been plenty of time for them to get the next of kin and those kind of things notified. But my story, my treatment of it all came out way later than that. So Star Jones came to Holmes County to do a story on it. Oh, I remember Star Jones. Black lady was a midwife there, and she wanted to be buried with who she considered her people. Oh, yeah, that does sound interesting. So I'm gonna put that up. Another interesting story, Craig. Star Jones came to Holmes County to do a story on it. A black lady was a midwife there, and she wanted to be buried with who she considered her people, which was all those she delivered, and the community drew the line. Oh, I see. So is that what we call what you call a wet nurse? Oh no, so a wet nurse might be a little bit different. Let's see. Midwife. Oh, that she delivered. Oh, I see. So not necessarily a wet, but she actually was the person who facilitated helping the people bear the children, and so she did a lot of them. But I mean, if she did a lot of them, actually, nurses, babies. Now I get what my mistake was. But so how could she be buried next to all of those people? I mean, seems obviously so she's much older than the people that she delivered, right? They're probably gonna live many years, so where is it that she wanted to be buried exactly? Now, see, now I got questions. See, frequently asked questions. I got questions about the subject that you brought up. So yes, I am going to bring it up. I'm going to look at that story up. Star Jones came to Holmes County. So let's just put off to the side Holmes County. Holmes County. And if you can, Rats, I'm gonna ask a favor of you. I'm gonna ask that you give me. I mean, I don't want you to do a whole lot of work. I can do the work, but if you can give me something in, like maybe email me or, um, well, let's see. I'm just trying to think of what's the best way for you to. I think she did story want to be buried in a specific area. Oh, and the people said no. Okay, just get the information to me somehow if you can, so that I probably with what you've given me, I probably can look it up. Um, so I'll see what I can do. Well, we are 4 seconds away. We did it. First show by myself, an hour with two lovely people. Thank you so much for. Um, I actually met Sergeant. Is she really short? Like I'm trying to think where I have. Did she lose a lot? Did she lose a lot of weight? I think that's what I'm thinking. Like I kind of remember her a little bit. Let me look. Let me see. Star Jones. If my mind is where I remember. Let's see. Yeah, I do remember this lady. But I don't remember what did she do before? Was she on a show? Man, she lost a lot of weight. Let's see. I do remember her, but I don't remember what show she was on. Hmm, I have to look that one up. All I know is that she was so pretty. Yeah, she was pretty. I agree. Oh, okay, she was on The View. Okay, I do remember her. All right, well, I am going to now. Eliza has already given me um, the kind of lowdown on this cortisol shot that I'm going to be getting in my knee. Apparently, that it hurts. I did not know that. My doctor did not tell me that it was going to hurt. I'm fine with pain, but she makes it seem as though it was worse than childbirth, and she's had a couple of children. So anyway, I think I can handle it. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Stephanie, oh, The View. Thanks for showing up. And I'm sorry, but I'm about to leave. We're about to leave. But the next time that I have the show, you can come join us. I have an appointment that I got to get to, so and I got to make sure I get my shipping out. So, but we made it to an hour. Maybe the next one will be an hour and a half, but we'll try to find that kind of fine line where enough people will be able to come and more people will come. So, if you haven't already done it, let's start with this. If you haven't already done this, find if you can find a person, one person that you think might enjoy the show, then share it with them. If they like it, then they'll be back. If not, then you've done probably the best that you could do. But your support on any level is appreciated, and I thank you. And as we get more and more people, then we'll just have the community that we will have, the tribe. Congrats, I've been listening and gardening. Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to close it down for now. And as I say that on most of my videos, whether you be on the right side or the left side, as far as I'm concerned, all I care is that you just meet me here somewhere in the middle. And that is a fact. My name is Craig. I have Fact of Madness, and you guys have a very productive day. Thank you. Peace. Thank you. I will.